Welcome to the Nasboys podcast. Now, did you know that Buddy Baker made 44 starts at Rockingham Speedway, leading 1,063 laps, but never won a single race at the track? His average finish there was 17.5, and he did not finish 25 times. Very interesting. So, anyways, guys, welcome to the Nasboys podcast. I'm your host, Mike, aka Mike Fob Fan 101, with my good friend and co-host Christian, aka Savage NASCAR.
What to do, Nasboys crew? And yeah, Buddy Baker definitely struggled at Rockingham in his career. I remember reading an article in one of the NASCAR programs I have from the '87 season, and there's an article in it with Buddy Baker talking about, oh, when is he finally going to get the win at the Rock? And it never happened in his Cup Series career.
All right, so we got some stuff to talk about this weekend. A pretty eventful weekend, I would say.
It was a long one, a lot of things went on. We all were really busy. And I was at Rockingham this weekend, for those that don't know, and it was absolutely a blast. I'm just very tired, as y'all can probably tell. I have a little bit of a filter on, and that is because I have some sunburn. So it is what it is. But yeah, as you can tell, there's some new merch for Rockingham Speedway that they actually released, and yeah, things are looking really positive for the track right now. And for Soccer Classics Group, just an absolutely great time. We had more entries than last year, and the Allison Legacy Series race was won second year in a row by Matthew Davis.
That's good to hear, Christian. I would love to see Rockingham get back on the schedule one day if things are turning in the right direction. So let's get down to talking about the races this weekend. We're going to kick things off with the truck race. What did you think of it?
Well, I got the pick right. We made that trade offer and it worked out for me. So Kyle Busch won the race. He led 84 of 134 laps from the pole. Not surprised Zane Smith was up there as well, but the Truck Series race did have a couple accidents in this race. Brett Holmes ended up getting into it, and same thing with Nicholas Sanchez. They went out with accidents. Haley Deegan wrecked. Am I surprised, Mike?
That's a mess. Look at them bouncing off each other. Go.
Haley Deegan.
John Hunter Nemechek.
John Hunter Nemechek. He goes into the wall.
I think Ross Chastain got a piece of that as well.
And the caution is out for the 6th time tonight.
No. So it is what it is. Right now, just not a great start to the season for Haley Deegan at all. Some notables for this race, I was thinking about picking Derek Kraus to win, and it was probably a good thing that I didn't, because I was looking, trying to see where he finished, and I can't see him anywhere. So good thing I didn't pick him. But Ross Chastain was actually in this race in the Truck Series. He ended up finishing 24th, kind of a mid finish for him in that race. But, it's just a typical Las Vegas truck race. There's nothing too crazy, nothing too negative. What would you say about it?
Well, you basically said what I would have had to say about it. It was a typical Las Vegas truck race. When we recorded last week's episode, I did not know what to say, how the race was going to go, because, Las Vegas is not a very eventful track. You don't know what's going to go on. And this is basically what we saw. Not too eventful of a race, but not a horrible race, I guess. From what I saw, it wasn't that bad. Kyle Busch won it. Am I surprised? No. I should have stuck with Kyle Busch, but instead I didn't want to look like a wuss and ended up picking Carson Hocevar, who did win stage 2, I believe. So
yeah.
Not too terrible. I think he finished around like 7th. So that's not too bad for Hocevar. I ended up getting a point off of that for our little competition that we're doing with the picks, which we'll get into the standings of that in a little bit when we do picks. But overall, it just seemed like a decent race. I should have stuck with Kyle Busch. That's all I got to say, really. And Haley Deegan, am I surprised she wrecked? No, not at all. I think that she's a little bit overrated and doesn't really deserve that Thor Sport truck, but we all know why she's in the truck.
Well, what did the people have to say about the race? I want from a scale of 1 to 10, it was better than the Xfinity, but the finish wasn't as good as the Xfinity finish. But I gotta give it probably a 4.
I think I would have to agree a 4. But 17% said great, 50% said good, 33% said mid/okay, nobody said bad. Henry 24257 says, like the downforce package, lots of side by side, 9 out of 10. Okay,
Speaking
no
of,
driver. Go
I
ahead.
was gonna say, speaking of Henry, he was at Rockingham too, and he was like, "Why isn't Mike here?" So it was just
Because
a little
I
bit of
do
a
not
troll.
because I do not have money for gas and I do not have time. That is why I was not there, folks.
But Henry's trying to start the rivalry back up with him. But anyways, let's continue. As you see, Mike's drinking some Deer Park, which is actually really
Henry
good.
is irrelevant, so I really do not care.
Uh-oh. Shots fired.
No driver of the day. I'll give it to Kyle Busch, of
Okay.
course.
Obviously, that's the obvious answer. I mean, who else was it gonna be?
All right. Now let's get into the Xfinity race.
Austin Hill, Austin Hill, Austin Hill. I picked you to win at Auto Club, and now you decide to show up the week I don't pick you. So it is what it is. He ends up making a pass there with coming to the white flag.
21.
Trying to run back to your
2
bumper.
races here. Ended with the last lap pass. White flag in the air. 1 lap to go. Sponsored by Credit One Bank. New leader is Austin Hill.
Wow.
He took the top spot as he took the white flag and now trying to drive away to his second win of the season. Allgaier gets by for second. Can he run down the 21? Final time through turns 3 and 4. They're painting that white line. Austin Hill leading. Allgaier's been second here 3 times in his career. He'll be a runner-up again. Austin Hill wins it in Vegas.
Guy by Chandler Smith, and Chandler Smith is driving the 16th for COG Racing this year. He led the most laps with 118 out of 200, and I thought he had it in the bag, but Justin Allgaier and Hill caught him towards the end, and Allgaier had a really fast car. I feel like if he had 2 more laps, he would have definitely passed Hill. I know that Kyle Busch, I picked him to win the Xfinity truck race. Busch finished 4th in the Xfinity race. He only led 4 laps, but another driver that led laps was John Nemechek. He finished 6th. He led 45 laps. But Riley Herbst, actually, he's been doing decent. Not been getting a lot of top 5s, but been consistently in the top 10 as through the first couple races of the year. Tyler Reddick was actually in the Xfinity race, which I was surprised about. He ended up finishing 13th in this one. Just wasn't really that exciting of a race. There was only one car that did not finish, and that was Joey Gase. He finished 38th and last. So it honestly was not a good race. I've not been a fan of the Xfinity series at this track, and I feel like they need to find another track for this series, other than Vegas. It was basically a 2 out of 10 before the final laps.
It was okay, I guess. It was a little boring at times. Didn't really know too much what was going on. I know that Chandler Smith was really dominant throughout the race at some parts. Kyle Busch, he was doing decent. He wasn't doing as much Kyle Busch things as I thought he was going to do. I picked him to win the Xfinity race, but Chandler Smith did do a really good job. I believe his 3rd race with Colleague, and he won the pole for the race. He looked really strong, and then just ultimately got that last lap pass by Hill. Very clean pass too.
Yeah.
So I felt like Allgaier, he looked a little fast, like you were mentioning. So I wouldn't have been surprised if the race had gone to overtime if Allgaier had won. But yeah, overall, pretty decent race. Congratulations to Austin Hill. So,
Well,
and Riley
one thing,
Herbst,
yeah.
I was gonna say Riley Herbst. I don't like to give that guy that much hate because I don't think he's that bad of a driver. I think that yes, he's had a lot of wrecks, but at the same time, he can get you some top 10s, top 15s whenever you need him to. And I feel like a lot of people are a little too hard on him.
Yeah, I get that, but then again, he has wrecked a lot of equipment over the
But,
last
I
2 years.
mean, does he deserve like Joe Gibbs and Stuart Haas equipment? No. But is he a terrible driver like some people say? No.
You know what would be crazy if I know this probably never gonna happen because of contracts, but imagine Stenhouse Jr. leaves the
Mhm.
47 and he goes to the 47. That'd be
I
kind of awesome.
mean,
Because I
I
don't
know
see what team would fit
Stenhouse,
him right now. And if he moves the cup, which they probably will end up rushing him,
right?
what team would he go to? They're not going to put him in Gibbs, or I don't think they would put him in Gibbs.
I I know that Stenhouse, there was some rumblings that he might go to the 4 because he was affiliated with Kevin Harvick, I believe, if I'm correct. So I've heard some people talk about him wanting to go to the 4, but I don't think that's the best option. I think I would rather Zane Smith be in the 4 because Riley Herbst, no, obviously that's
Yeah,
why would you want Riley Herbst? Zane Smith is probably the top prospect, and let's be real, he's going to be in Cup soon. And
yeah.
I don't know if front row is going to open up the 36 as a charter. And if you can't get him, then maybe Stenhouse. But I don't know. I don't even see why he would want to be. He'd be in the 4.
Well, John Hunter Nemechek's driven in the 4 in the Truck Series, so I wouldn't be surprised if he goes. But what did the
I
people have to
mean,
say about this?
maybe. But I don't know
Yeah,
if he want. I've heard rumors that he doesn't even want to do Cup racing because of the schedule. But he moved up to Xfinity, so I don't know.
I
I've
don't know
just
what he
heard
means
some
by
people
that.
talk about because I heard since he's like a dad, he wants to be there for his kids, but also race, obviously. So Xfinity kind of works out better for him. I think I could be wrong. Somebody correct me in the comments if I'm wrong, but that's what I've heard.
Mature mindset, and he's I think he's younger than me, if not the same age as me, and he has like, oh, well, I need to be there. But
Yeah,
yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Chandler is 20.
Huh. Man, I feel old.
Nemechek is actually now I'm looking it up. Nemechek is 25.
Okay, well, never mind. He is older than me. Okay, well, overshot that one. But what did the
I
people
see
have to
what you're
say
saying
about
though.
the Xfinity race?
Uh 17% said great. 30 oh wait. Yeah, this is the right thing. 33 said good, 33 said message okay, and 17 said bad.
Oh,
Henry 24257 says wish Chandler won, but glad Hill got a win. 7 out of 10. Yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. No driver of the day. I'm gonna give it to Chandler Smith, even though he did lose a couple points for getting passed on the last lap, but he did look like the more dominant car.
yeah, I have to agree with you on that one 100%.
And now the cup race. What did you think?
Honestly, man, I'm gonna be real with you. I was dozing in and out. And usually I don't do that watching the cup race, but because of everything that's happened this weekend and trying to get stuff like, download and everything and trying to watch that and then the Outlaws, I was falling asleep throughout the day. So I didn't even see like a good portion of it. All I know is I did watch the final stage, like the complete final stage. There was like nothing major that happened up until the final stage, to be honest. I did notice a lot of cars were loose. Blaney hit the wall a couple of times. I know Logano hit the wall. Bubba Wallace struggled at one point, but the crew made adjustments and he worked his way up to the front and he had a really strong car. And you picked him, so props to you on making a very good selection. I had Kozlowski. He was up front in the top 10 the whole race until the end, and he gets wiped out on that last lap, which takes a point away from me in a little bit of a contest thing here. But, I shouldn't have I was thinking I should have put Cindric on my fantasy team because he was back in like 26th almost the entire race, and he ends up getting a top 10 out of nowhere. He just surged to the front and got 6th. Um, Big props to Justin Haley finishing 8th in the 31 car. Harvick was really strong. So was Suarez. Chastain, his car, he seemed like he faded towards the end. Same thing with Kyle Busch as well. But yeah, just some cars that I felt like a lot of the Toyotas had problems hitting the wall. I know Penske, they struggled throughout most of the day. I thought Penske would be more contenders, including Logano, who was on the pole. He struggled and he ended up wrecking. If you haven't seen that, here it is. So yeah, I'm surprised he didn't get nailed by Stenhouse Jr. That was close, but um, Byron dominated this one, and I knew that Hendrick was going to be strong. Larson's won here before, and Bowman's been strong here before, but I knew Byron was going to be up there, so I put him on my fantasy team, and yeah, he led about every lap except for about 8. So he led 176 of 271. So I guess congrats to him. And what did you think about it?
Well, first of all, Christian, thank you for giving me my props for picking Bubba Wallace. I knew that was going to be a decent pick, and you guys laughed at me. So you and
Oh, you
Cam
laugh
can
at
both.
me for picking random drivers, so it's fine.
Because you picked Derek Kraus. Bubba Wallace at least has more of a chance than Derek Kraus. So you and Cam can both suck it that Bubba Wallace got a top 5, and I ended up getting 2 points, and you lost a point. So,
Do I care? No.
Christian.
It's just points, Mike. It's
I
3
know, I know. I'm just
season,
joking
and you
around.
act like it's the playoffs. Okay.
Okay, for legal purposes, for anybody that wants to get on me for being mean to Christian, it's a joke.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Well, I know it is, but it'd be
anyways,
funny. Just started seeing memes of Mike bullying Christian.
anyways, race was a little boring. I didn't really get too much of a chance to watch. I was at my grandmother's. It was her birthday. Well, it's her birthday coming up, but we had a birthday party for her. So happy birthday, Mima. Um, the race was boring, like I just mentioned. Byron pretty much dominated, which wasn't really why it was boring, but there just wasn't that much really movement in the pack. It's just kind of cars running their line. Nothing really too much to say about it. Logano was really the only incident that I saw. I know that Blaney hit the wall, and he wasn't really having that great of a day. Las Vegas is a strong track for Penske, and they just ended up not having that great of a race. Logano, like I mentioned again, spinning out really sucks. But at the end of the day, it was a racing deal. He got kind of caught up with Keselowski. It looked like they were just both running their line and ended up just colliding. And Logano just got loose because of how bad the car was. He actually got airborne a little bit, which I hope that didn't do anything to him with how crappy the safety is in the car. And the bumper kind of was broken. I think the toe link again, so they ended up taking it into the garage because of the damaged vehicle policy, which sucks. Logano ended up finishing 36th, which I believe was last place. Really terrible weekend for him, but otherwise, Chevy's really dominated from what it looked like, and I believe that Hendrick would have gotten a 1, 2, 3, 4 if Elliott did not get hurt, which we will mention in a little bit.
Yeah,
So,
it was the race, as you mentioned, it wasn't really that exciting. And one thing I will say that I did find pretty cool was the side drafts on the straightaways. They were going about 190 going into turn one.
yeah.
We saw some guys even trying to bump draft on the front stretch a couple times, which I was concerned about. I was like, oh no, they're going to wreck. But no one did, thankfully. But it's just a casual Las Vegas race. It's not exciting. I've never been a fan of the track, and I wish that they would have only at least one race here a season, not two. I'm
Yeah.
tired of it. I'm sorry.
I know why they have 2 races there, but I disagree with it. I mean, there's a lot of tracks like the classic tracks that everybody knows and loves that should get 2 races. But some of these tracks, like Las Vegas, for example, should not have 2 races. I mean, there was another track that had 2 races that I think it was Kansas that I don't think deserves 2
Yeah.
races.
Well,
I like the
Phoenix
track,
too.
but I don't think it deserves 2 races.
Phoenix also, which is coming up.
Yeah.
That's another mid track.
I think here's something that I think the only tracks that deserve 2 dates: Bristol, Charlotte, Daytona, Talladega, Darlington,
Atlanta.
Atlanta. Yes, I was thinking there's one more that I wanted to mention. That was it. It's pretty
Pocono.
much it in my eyes, unless I'm missing something.
Pocono.
No, that track that definitely does not deserve 2 dates. I don't
If
even
it
know
was
why they
back in
did
the
that double
90s,
header.
yeah, keep it that way. Or back in the 90s and 2000s, keep it that way. But a lot of people don't really like Pocono anymore. Some people just, they just can't. The new, I don't know. I feel like some people just don't appreciate like a different shaped track and the
It's
history of it.
not
There's like,
that.
well, it's a track that we've had since the '70s, and it's provided solid racing. Yeah, sometimes it's long, but has it really been that bad? No.
I mean, Pocono
We
was
saw
really
what
bad with
happened
the
the
Gen
last couple
6.
years. I mean,
Pocono
yeah,
was really
some
bad with the
races
Gen
weren't that
6.
good, but
Pocono was really bad with the Gen 6. Gen 7, it was a little better, but it still doesn't deserve 2 dates.
I disagree with you on that one. But
The only tracks that deserve 2 dates are the 6 tracks that I just mentioned. But, anyways,
by the way, you won fantasy for Vegas, and I was surprised I got fifth, considering most of my drivers that I had in my lineup were really far back. So
for
yeah,
now, I won fantasy because it ended up robbing somebody when we did the video. My lineup this week for fantasy actually was Chastain, Logano, who I had to put in the garage. I think I had Blaney. I can't remember. Bubba, Byron, and then I think I had Larson.
I had Byron. I didn't even put my race pick on the lineup. I didn't put Kozlowski on there, but I had Byron, Logano, Chastain, Cindric, and Larson, and then the garage had Kyle Busch, and I didn't get him out in time before Logano. I
Yeesh.
didn't get him out before stage 3, but it is what it is.
Thank God I had Logano in my garage because actually, no, I had Truex in my lineup. Whoever I said earlier, I don't know. I had Truex in my lineup, so that was good. But yeah, Logano in my garage, one, because he sucked, and two, because I get another usage for him because they don't take away usages when you put him in the garage. So yay.
Yeah, yeah, that's a plus. Now what do the people have to say about the race?
0% said great, 30%
Ooh,
said good, 70% said mess, that's okay, and nobody said bad. Let's see. Shadow underscore racing
Matt
says
Moreau.
he said the cars weren't bunched up, but it was an average mile and a half track. Yes, it was. Henry 24257 says really mid. The car has too much downforce and the air gets cars together, but the best car won 6 out of 10. So one person is saying the cars are bunched up, and the other person is saying that they were. I
You
meant
see
tight, not
differences.
together. Oh, okay. Never mind, guys. I was gonna get on him. Driver of the day, William Byron. I agree with that completely.
Yeah, Byron's obviously the obvious. Whoa, there's a huge echo I can hear. But Byron was definitely the driver today. And thank you to those that replied to our stories and, put in the polls. So, to be honest with you, 1 out of 10, I give this race like a 3.2. What about you?
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Now, as we move on to the next segment of our show, let's look at the memes of the week. And there is a couple memes, but first I have to do not a NASCAR meme, but an IndyCar meme because this one was probably one of the funniest ones. All the drivers were okay in this wreck. The IndyCar race was the best race of the weekend, but this one wreck, if you haven't seen it, it's in this meme. And this one is by Racing. I'll make sure I get his username right. It is by Racing Memes IG. On Instagram. So yeah, that is quite the Rocket League moment, that is for sure. Next up, this one's a little bit of an edgy one, but it's Chase Elliott by Austin Spin. It's about Chase Elliott in his accident.
Up, we're drifting. We're turning. We're turning.
Dad, I'm scared.
We're backwards. Am I the only one who thinks that now we're at an alarming speed? This is.
Hopefully he has a safe, a speedy recovery, and he's healthy and everything. Basically, Family Guy predicted Chase Elliott's injury, but Next up, another funny meme. This is by the Road Runner. This is probably lost of William Byron. Uh, oh man, that's quite the funny one. It looks a little bit like Mike too. I don't know. Yeah, looks a little bit like Mike.
How
No
does
offense.
this guy look like me?
That's you when you're 6 years old.
Ah, that's a freaking me from the Nintendo Wii. What is that?
Nah, fam. That's gotta be you. But I'm just playing. Next up, we got the more cast with Kyle Busch in any truck race ever, which is
Oh, God. Wow. Oh, I was asleep.
pretty accurate because Kyle Busch just just bulldozed the field, so not really surprising. Another thing is kind of meme material is this giant hat that William Byron wore in Victory Lane. So that's the meme review of the weekend. And if y'all have any memes, make sure to send them to us so we can mention them. And we always enjoy good memes. We haven't had any like crazy funny memes so far this year, so y'all got to do better. But anyways, let's get
Yeah.
into some of the news from the weekend.
If y'all have some memes to counter Christian's point, if you do have some memes, make sure you guys send it to our social media links down below in the description. Any account, don't matter. We'll cover it for sure. So news this week, obviously, top story of the week: Chase Elliott fracturing his tibia in a snowboarding accident, which is also leading to some debate on if that was like risky, or like if NASCAR drivers should do these risky activities, which is something I do want to talk about. First of all, prayers for Chase Elliott. I hope he has a speedy recovery. It's very shocking to hear that.
Yeah.
But is it kind of stupid? Yes. Because here's the thing. I'm saying like drivers should like wrap themselves in bubble wrap and like not do anything fun over the weekend and while they're at the track, because obviously NASCAR is a stressful sport. These drivers have to worry about impressing their sponsors, keeping their teams happy, getting the results they want. And they want to take some edge off, which is fine. And in a city like Las Vegas, where there's a lot of activities to do, not just gambling, like other activities, you're going to want to indulge in it, which is fine. But snowboarding, I know that Chase Elliott has done it since he was a little kid, so I can give him a pass for it, but it's like, it's just so risky for yourself, for your team, that I can see why people would want to scratch their heads and just be like, why are you doing this, man? You have a race coming up, and you got the rest of the season, and now he's going to have to get an eligibility waiver, which most likely he'll get because he's freaking Chase Elliott.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's just a weird situation overall. I don't really know what to say about it, because I don't want to say he shouldn't be snowboarding during the season, but at the same time, I'm kind of just thinking, why are you doing this to yourself, man?
I mean, I couldn't have worded it any better. You put that, you described that very well. And basically, my thoughts as well. There's been drivers in the past that have gotten injured during the season doing other activities. Like one example, Denny Hamlin's gotten injured playing basketball for. I think he like tore his ACL or something playing basketball 1 year during the middle of a season. So it's not uncommon. I know Edwards has gotten hurt too. I think doing something in the during the middle of the season as well. Um,
I
but
mean,
maybe
Daniel Hemrick,
yeah,
sorry to interrupt, but Daniel Hemrick, I think it was last week, he had something wrong with his knee. He was on crutches.
mm.
I don't know what he was doing, but he didn't injure himself in the car, I don't think.
Yeah, but some drivers they want to take their mind and time off of like racing, and it's a little early in the season, so I'm surprised that he'd be out doing that. But as you mentioned, he's had a past where he's done it, and he's done it since he was younger, and there's nothing wrong with doing that. So I hope everything goes well for him. I'm not a huge Chase Elliott fan. I know a lot of them are like, why? But in other news, I saw this thing the other day about Bush Beer and their sponsorship for 2023 or 24, and they're trying to find another driver to sponsor. And I saw that there's a possibility that they'll be sponsoring Ross Chastain. What's your thoughts?
I don't know why, but Ross Chastain seems like he would fit with Bush Beer. I don't know why that is. I just have that kind of a feeling, and I would like to see what they can do, especially with his like Melon Man brand. It'd be cool if they did something like a melon brew or something. I don't know, something that has a combination of both the melon and Bush Beer. They've done very good collaboration paint schemes before, so it'd be
Yeah.
interesting to see what they could come up with him.
The paint scheme I saw that was sent in the group chat looked really cool. I'm not a beer guy. I don't drink beer or alcohol, but the car would look really good. That's all I'll say. Um, so I guess now we could look through the point standings real quick in the Cup Series. As we just mentioned, Rasha saying he's in the points lead. Overall with the 129 points, he's had one top five and two top tens, leading 97 laps. Alex Bowman second in points, Kevin Harvick third. Of course, none of those guys have won yet this season, but Kyle Busch, he's eighth in points. He does have a win, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. is 12th with a win. And I hear myself echoing for some reason. It's a Zoom moment. But one driver I will mention that's struggling really bad. Tyler Reddick, a lot of people are like, oh, he's going to have such a good year. Blah, blah. Guess where he is in points? 34th. And you're saying that he's going to contend for the playoffs of 23 XI. Come on, people. I don't know what you're saying. He's going to a new team. He's struggling. So Eric Jones, 28th in points, not too good either for him. Same thing, Chase Briscoe struggling right now too, 36 points. Just real quick. Xfinity points. Austin Hill is on top with 2 wins out there. Second in points, Nemechek third in points, and Chandler Smith fourth. Truck Series, the points leader for that is Zane Smith with a win. Ty Majeski's actually second, even though he hasn't. He's been quietly second. He has a top 5 and 2 top 10s. Eck is third. Matt Crathton quietly in fourth place. So let's go ahead and do our picks for Phoenix.
Hold on, we got to take a short break real quick. We'll be right back. All right, we're back. So before we get into picks, there's a couple other things I would like to mention. First of all, NASCAR Race Day is being revived on April 9th at Bristol. John Roberts, Kenny Wallace, and some NASCAR Cup Series drivers, plus some special guests, will be in the revival, which is really, really cool to see. For those of you that don't remember Race Day is kind of like college game day in a sense, where they have like a little booth outside of the speedway and around along the outside of the track where the fans walk. Fans can come watch and see what the analysts believe about the race. They talk about the race, and in my opinion, it's much better than the pre-race shows that they have nowadays. So it's going to be really cool to see that come back. I might even have to check it out myself. And it's the perfect track to bring it back at, the Bristol Dirt Race on Easter again. So that should be really fun. NASCAR has made updates to the short track package. They're going to lower the spoiler to 2 inches, remove the 3 diffuser strakes, and 30% reduction of downforce. I like this. Because the short tracks were very boring last season. Which is very surprising. So hopefully this brings the short tracks back to their glory and what the car was actually made to do. So we will see coming up. I know Phoenix is coming up. I don't know if this race is taking effect for Phoenix or the package is taking effect for Phoenix, but this is going to be good, hopefully.
The only 2 short track races last year that were good were the Bristol races. The dirt race is kind of questionable because there's a lot of wrecks. There's rain delay, and the average speed was literally 34 miles an hour. But the fall Bristol race was pretty decent. But I hope that this package works.
I agree. So let's get down to our picks for this weekend. Taking a look at the standings for our little competition. I am in the lead with I think I'm in the lead like 16 points. Yeah, I'm up 16. Christian, he is at 7, and Cam, I think he picked who can't pick Denny Hamlin. Where did he come in? 11th.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it has 2 points. So let's see if we can change that this week.
Didn't
Starting
I
out with the
get did I not get any points for Kyle Busch in the Xfinity race either?
That was your 5 points.
Okay. Well, he won the truck race and then he finished in the top 5 of the
Yeah, and then I
Xfinity
gave you your
race.
2 points.
Okay, that makes sense. I don't keep track of the points, y'all. That's Mike's thing. I'm just here to have a good time.
Anyways, so no truck race this week, but taking a look at the Xfinity race, I'm going to say Justin Allgaier is going to win. He's been very strong at Phoenix before, and I won't be shocked if he can take this momentum that he's been having this season and get a win at Phoenix.
My thing is about this. Allgaier's ran really well at Phoenix, and that's a good pick. It's just he hasn't gotten the job done there.
True.
So I don't think he's going to win it. I'm going to think even though he struggled a little bit so far this season, Brandon Jones, he's going to finally break through and he's going to get the win.
Kyle Busch is in this race, which I don't think he is, but I may have to double check. I'll go with Kyle Busch, but for now it's Justin Allgaier. And then for the Cup race, I picked one of my least favorite drivers this week or last week, depending on when you're watching the video, Bubba Wallace. But this week, I think I'm going to go ahead and pick my favorite driver. I'm going to say Joey Logano is going to win this race at Phoenix. And don't laugh at me because you know how it ended this week.
It's like every 2 weeks you pick him to win. So that's
Oh,
why I'm
that's not
laughing.
true. That
Yes,
is
it
not
is.
true.
You picked
That
him
is
to win
not true
Daytona.
whatsoever.
You picked him to win Daytona, and you
I
picked him to
did
win
pick him to
Phoenix.
win Daytona. You're right. But I will give you a hint. The next few races coming up, which are, if I'm pulling up the schedule, Atlanta, I'm not picking him. Circuit of the Americas, not picking him. And Richmond, I'm not picking him. There's
Well,
your hint right there.
what I will say is there hasn't been any back-to-back winners at Phoenix in a while, the Cup Series. So the last time I saw that was Kevin Harvick. Harvick hasn't won there in a couple years. I don't think he's going to do it. It's going to be another bad race, and I think people are
Mm.
finally going to open their eyes up about how bad the racing at Phoenix is with this package and what they need to fix. The only thing we will see probably some tire issues. We'll probably see a little bit of bumping going into the check flag. But I have a hard time picking who's going to win this one, but I'm going to say Denny Hamlin's going to. I just think he's done decently here before. I could just see the 11 car winning there.
Denny Hamlin is not a bad pick. If I had to make some predictions for the race, I agree. I think there will be tire issues. I can't complain about the package because if they're using that new package, like I just mentioned, we don't know how that's going to run with the next gen car. So I'm very excited to see that. And Phoenix was good with the old next gen package, or not next gen, excuse me, Gen 6 package. I agree that the racing is not the best, and I definitely believe it should be taken off as the championship race because it is such a random track.
Yeah.
So maybe this race can open some eyes to some fans, some more fans that don't believe the same way. So we'll see what goes on with the race. I think it'll be a decent race. I'm not going to say it's a terrible race, but I'm not going to say it's going to be a great race.
Well, it's not really like the open eyes to fans, more like open the eyes to the NASCAR in general, because they need to realize what's going on. And they're like, okay, maybe they're right. Maybe we'll listen to fans and be like, okay, it's not a good track for the championship race. I know we have a contract with SMI and everything, but it's not a good track to have as the championship race.
I don't think they're ever going to listen to the fans.
They rarely do. I mean,
I know they have
do
a
sometimes.
TV. I know they got a TV contract coming up, so this is a big Phoenix race because if the track is good, then they'll probably keep it as the championship race. But I don't know. We'll see what goes on with it. I have to even hear more about the TV contract now that I'm thinking about it because I know that they want to do races on stream like IndyCar does.
they've had some talks about how 2024 schedule is going to be kind of wild, and I could see it being different than this season schedule. I've heard some rumors about, you know, different tracks being on the schedule. I don't think Auto Club's going to be on the schedule in
Oh,
2024, from what I
no,
know,
that's
because
confirmed.
that's 2025. So yeah, we're gonna see definitely a good bit of different
I will
moves
say
on the schedule.
I will say one thing before we close the episode out. NASCAR has to figure out a way to compete with Formula One because Formula One has no commercials during races. NASCAR has to figure out some way to figure that out. And SRX too. SRX only has commercials when it's either a break in between races or if they do have commercials, it's like side by side or during a yellow flag. So
Well, the
NASCAR has to
F
figure out some way to compete with that.
well, one thing I will say is I'm tired of hearing people being like, "Oh, F1's better than NASCAR," and people trying to compare F1 to NASCAR. It's completely different, even though
Can't.
NASCAR's trying to. It seems like NASCAR's trying to compete with F1 in a way that they can. They're like, "Oh yeah, we need to have one lugs on the tires. We need to have this and this to make the cars more like F1." And I don't like that because it's just stock car racing. This is not open wheel racing,
I agree.
and Formula One's not even that exciting anymore. I'm just gonna be real with y'all. There's only a couple races in F1 that I watch every year, and then the rest of them are just mid.
I don't even like F1. There's a
I mean, to be
multitude of
honest,
reasons.
some of the fans are kind of toxic too. That's just being
That's one
honest.
reason.
I think that it's a sport, obviously, and it's difficult, but I feel like the crews don't get enough recognition. Like the mechanics, the people that make the cars don't get enough recognition. It's just always the drivers that are the number one
Yeah,
priority.
I
And
agree.
it bugs me about that because like they glorify the drivers, they don't glorify the team. They don't give all the credit. They don't give credit to the teams. Yeah, the drivers put a lot of effort into it and it takes a lot of hard work, but I don't like F1. It's not the same.
I agree.
Yeah, it's definitely better and safer, and I'm glad for that. But the tracks, I'm not a huge fan of some of the tracks either. I'm not. I like Formula One during the day, not during the night. But makes
Yeah,
me feel
I got a
better.
lot of complaints. I got a lot of complaints about F1. First of all, the same people win it over and over again. You'll either see Lewis Hamilton or Max Verstappen or some occasional other winners
Yeah,
in F1. Two, it's mostly a European sport, which okay, I can't complain about that as much. But now they're just starting to get an American driver. There's only one American driver, which is hard for other American, like some other people that just want to support Americans. That's hard for people to support. They're very political. I hate
yeah.
that. I hate that. All they do is bring politics into everything. I know NASCAR has gotten a little political as well, but it's not nearly as bad as F1. I'm not going to get into some of my political beliefs, but just know like F1 gets on my nerves with that.
For real though.
Um, I think the racing is a little boring. I think it's cool at some points, but I think it's boring just seeing the same people win it over and over again. And overall, I just don't think it's better than NASCAR, and it's not my cup of tea. NASCAR, IndyCar, SRX, that's my cup of tea, not F1.
Well, another thing to mention too, it's definitely to see it in person is way different than seeing it on TV. To see it in person, yeah, I'll definitely love to go see an F1 race in person, but it's just so expensive, and to
It's
watch
way
on TV.
overpriced. No, it's like $200 a
Yeah,
ticket. Like, give me a
I'd
break.
rather
That's
watch
Super Bowl
it.
prices.
I'd rather watch it in person on TV, and it's the racing's very mid at some points. The start's always a dramatic thing, but everyone just hypes it up to be, oh, it's going to be the greatest season ever. No, it's
I
not.
agree.
The most of the drivers that are in there because their family history and how much money they have, it's just a rich people sport now. That's one thing I've been noticed about NASCAR though too is back in the day you could enter in a car as an independent, and it wasn't based off of money, and you didn't have to have a contract and all this stuff. And now you have to have so much money, and
Right.
you have to have all these sponsors, and it's just insane. The
Right.
just racing in general has changed so much over the years. A lot of it good, but also a lot of it bad.
Sorry. But yeah, I think that's gonna close out this week's episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Comment, like, and subscribe. Make sure you guys follow our socials, and we will see you guys in the next episode. Peace.
Peace. See ya.
You want me calling night. You wanted what I think. All these women lie. Push me to the brink.